sound of Asian Britain on digital TV, iPlayer and online.
This is BBC Asian Network.
Okay. I want you to start texting and emailing right now, even though I haven't told you what. I'm going to tell you what for, because our guru this week is an immigration guru. Harjap Singh Bhangal is going to be in the studio. He'll be here to give you advice on all your visa and immigration questions, okay? So if you're thinking of bringing people over, if you've been here a certain amount of time, if you've overstayed your visa and you're worried about what to do next, if you want to bring a wife over or a husband over and you just don't know the hoops that you have to jump through, if you want to study here, then please, if you have a long-term visa here but you're thinking of going abroad to work for a year and you want to know how to get through all these different minefields that exist in the world of immigration, then please get your questions in. Last time Harjap was here, we were inundated, so please don't waste any time. Get them in on the text 81869 or email nihal@bbc.co.uk.
On digital TV, iPlayer and online.
The sound of Asian Britain.
Asian Network.
Good afternoon, you're listening to Nihal on the BBC Asian Network. I just want to read out a couple of texts with regards to the first hour. Tony in Wolftown said, "What's going on, Nihal? I'm a trainee pharmacist myself. I think pharmacists should be able to refuse contraceptives out of wedlock because every person has their own beliefs and morals, but professional point of view. These should be kept apart. Pharmacists should definitely be able to opt out of this. If these people decide to enter a profession serving the public, they should do exactly that. I think it's outrageous conduct, according to Cam." And an email from Rohan in Atlanta in America said, "Why is this even an issue in the UK? If you want to bring your religion into the workplace, then move to a non-secular country. There are plenty of religious societies in the world." Sunita said, "I don't see how religious beliefs have any relevance when providing an official health service to the public. Imagine if those guidelines were issued to all professional bodies, people in the service industries, public sectors such as police and medical staff." And lastly, anonymous text said, "People that work at chemists are there to do a job. If they wish not to do that, what they are paid for, then get rid of them. They are not there to play God." There you go. Well, very, very lively first hour indeed. And I know that this second hour is going to be equally, if not even more so. So, we are here to talk about visa applications, trips to embassies, interviews, travelling back and forth on Indian passports, then travelling back in UK passports. Well, we're going to find out what the rules are. We're going to find out what you need to know about all things immigration, because today we have our immigration guru with us, Harjap Singh Bhangal. Good afternoon, Harjap.
Good afternoon, Nihal.
Mate, you are a very popular man indeed. We were inundated last time you were on this show, so please text in now your questions, because I cannot guarantee you that in the next 50 minutes or so we'll be able to get them in if you leave them till the last 5 minutes or so, because they'll just stack up. So please, any immigration-related issues that you currently have with you, friends or family, whether bringing people into the country, people who are already here, people... Oh, and I just want to make this very clear. Let me cut out this whole swathe of people right now. If you fell in love with... No, if you married someone, they came over here, then you've fallen out, you can't get them kicked out of the country. You can't.
That's
you
right.
can just tell the Home Office and then it's up to them. Yeah, that's it. Because we had a lot of this last time.
That's right. That's
Let's start with Harminder in the Midlands. Good afternoon, Harminder. Harminder?
Hi.
How are you?
Fine, thanks.
What would you like to ask Harjap?
What it is, my husband's got a Indian passport.
Yep.
And he wants to apply for a British passport.
Yep.
But he lost one of his passports in about 3 or 4 years ago on the way back from India.
Okay.
Well, he lost it in the UK. We thought he'd lost it, but we actually found it.
Okay.
And now he's going to apply for his British passport. We're just wondering, because there was a period where we can't really show where he was, whether he was in this country or not in this country, whether that's going to cause any problems or whether we should declare that we found it.
You should declare that you found it.
Okay.
And you should attach all the passports. Usually when you've got a period of where you can't prove you're here, they usually ask for doctor records or your wage slips or a P60 or bank statements. That will suffice.
Okay.
So you can send that as well, if they ask for it. But really, if you found a passport again, then... usually your new one's valid, your old one isn't valid anymore. Because in the Indian passport, if you have a look on the back page, it will always say, right, this was replaced because the old passport was lost, and your old passport number is put on there.
Okay.
So they know that you had an old passport anyway, and the number's on the new passport that's issued. But you should declare it. There's no need to lie about it or anything.
Yeah.
So how do you declare it? Just ring them up? Or?
No, you don't need to say anything like that. When he applies for nationality,
Yeah.
You just send all of them off. I mean, that's what you want to do, apply for nationality, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to ask you for all of his passports, you send it off, evidence that he's paying some sort of tax, send that off, and his life in the UK test.
Okay.
Hamid, so wait a minute. I mean, Harjap, what are the benefits of nationality over indefinite leave to remain?
Quite a few, mate, first of all. Right.
Okay.
First of all, you don't need a visa to go to Europe or America or Canada. As you know, we've got British passports. With an Indian passport, you need a visa to go everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And what are benefits from the Indian side of retaining your Indian passport? Because if Harminder, how often does your husband go back and forth to India then?
Every year.
Right, every year. Okay.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of myths, right? And the housewives' myths.
Yeah.
Right. And usually made up by the old women who would go to the temples all day and then have a bit
gossip
of
about these
have a
things,
bit of Langan, and then they got to get it out. You see, out of the system. They usually say, right, if you have an Indian passport, or if you have a British passport, you can't hold any land out there,
Yes.
or they're gonna kick us out of this country. And then if you've got a British passport, they won't let you back in India, stuff like that. First of all, you can retain your Indian citizenship if you want, but it's best to get British citizenship now that you're here, because they're going to make it harder to get British citizenship in the future.
Right.
And it's going to be all on a points-based system. Secondly, even if you have a British passport, you can still own land in India, as long as you get a PIO card or an OCI card, and that entitles you to every single right that you have as an Indian citizen.
Right, okay.
Apart from the fact you can't vote, and you can't go and buy agricultural land there.
Right,
There's a reason for the not buying
Well, that's a bit of a problem if you're a Jat, isn't it?
Yeah, there is a reason for that.
Can't go and do any more farming?
Yeah, basically, well, you can farm your own land and
Oh,
your
right.
granddad's, but you can't go out and buy 40 acres of farming land, because the reason for that is foreigners technically could get hold of all the food supply of India.
Right.
Because it mainly comes from agricultural land.
Right,
And then economies and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
you know.
of course, that makes sense. Harminder, is that all good for you?
Yeah, can I just ask one more
Go on.
question? You know, when we send off the lost passport with
Yeah.
the other passports, I think he's got 3 in all.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do we have to put a letter with it? Will they ask?
No. The British government is not concerned with that. You're going way, thinking too much about it.
Okay.
It's not a big matter. It's a pretty trivial matter.
3 passports, Harminder. You sure you're not married to James Bond?
All in the same name, I hope.
Yeah, I know. You better check he hasn't got an Aston Martin with machine guns in it.
Well, his name's Bhutan, Mukhtar, and Durga.
Okay, Harminder, thank you. Good luck with that. All right, now give us a call. 08459 440 445 is the number. Harjap is here to answer your questions. Jazz, good afternoon.
Hi, Nihal.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. What would you like to ask Harjap?
Hello, Harjap Baji.
Hi there.
I'd just like to ask, my husband became a British citizen about 5 years ago.
Okay.
His Indian passport expired, I think, a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Do I still need to send in the £90 fee?
Yep, please. We were just talking about that, actually, before we came on air. And, you should send it off, because next time he applies for a visa, they're going to kick up a bit of a fuss about that.
Right.
They're actually doing it at the moment. And so you should just send it off, pay the 90 quid. They give you this surrender certificate.
Yeah.
It's probably the worst piece of paper, quality piece of paper you've ever seen. It looks like a little kid, 5-year-old, has scanned it and put it on there. It is really you're going to look at that and think, I paid 90 quid for this. I could have got a degree down the market for that. But it's something that you need to show them next time you apply for a visa. Otherwise, what they do is they put delays in getting your visa, and they start fining you and stuff like this. It's just not worth it.
Okay. And does he need to send his British passport as well?
What for? No, not for nothing. He doesn't have to send
so
his...
it's just the Indian
just send his
passport and
Indian
the
one back,
£90
pay the
fee.
£90. It's a 2-minute process. You have to queue up 2 hours for it.
Can you not do it online?
I think you can do it online. The form's online. I'm not sure if you have to hand it in by post. Hand it in yourself. But I wouldn't put it in the post, because then they end up saying, oh, we didn't get it, and blah, blah,
Right, and the nearest office is Birmingham, isn't it, the Indian?
In the Midlands, yeah. It's in the Jewellery
Jazz is
Quarter.
in Derby. Jazz is in Derby.
Jewellery Quarter, Birmingham.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Thanks ever so much for your help.
Not a problem.
Good luck,
Cheers.
Jazz.
Thank you,
Okay,
bye.
let's speak to Mohammed in Peterborough. Remember, the number is 08459 440 445. Text number 81869. But you know what? Give us a call, because I can imagine these are complicated issues and you may not fit it all on a text. Mohammed, hello.
Hello, hiya.
How are you?
All right, not bad, how are you?
Good, my friend, good. Thanks for getting in contact this afternoon. Harjap is here at your mercy, as it were.
Well, just a query. I'm bringing on behalf of my cousin. My name is Mohammed as well. Well, what it is, he's a Tier 4 student, general student.
Yeah.
And last September, he reapplied for his leave to remain.
Yep.
As a student. We filled out the necessary application form.
Yep.
But it was rejected because there wasn't enough funds in the account.
Yep.
Because it is a points-based system.
That's right.
How much money do you need to be in the account?
You need your college fees.
Right.
And usually a year's expenditure up front. But people who are already in the UK, there's a concession for that. So they don't have to show as much as that.
Okay, but so Mohammed, your cousin was already in the UK.
Yeah, because this is the third year.
Right, but didn't have much money.
And we applied for it, and they said the whole money for the whole year should have been shown.
Yeah.
In the account, but we made a mistake about not reading the guidelines properly.
Okay.
We only showed the money that was remaining. It was part of the fees paid, and we sent in an installment letter showing that we'll be paying in installments.
So what's happened now? What are you doing now about it?
What happened? We then went for an appeal. They refused the appeal on the 19th.
Yeah.
Because they said that the money should have been in.
That's right. Yeah. It's very black and white. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've been supporting him, you see. I said to them, I'll be supporting him.
Yeah, that's not good enough anymore.
Right.
It has to be in his account. You should reapply, and if they don't accept that, then he should go back and apply again for another visa.
So he'll have to go back?
He might have to. He might have to.
Right, so Mohammed, to be clear, he has to apply again
He should
and
apply
make sure
again.
there are funds in that account.
Yeah.
Because his leave to remain expired in October last year.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, so he should still try and apply again. Sometimes they're quite good and they let you through even though your leave has expired. If they say no to this time round, your new application, then he should be looking to go back and apply from back home.
Right.
Is that...
Because they did say to us at the hearing that you can make a fresh application.
Yep.
It's not guaranteed if it'll be accepted or not.
Yeah, that's right. There's no guarantee if they're going to say yes or no on it. But sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Right.
If they do, it's all right. If not, back home, mate.
Because we're thinking about doing a reconsideration, to upper tribunal. Do you think that would help or
Nah,
not?
I don't think that's really going to be successful, mate.
Yeah.
Right.
So
No.
it's reapplying, Mohammed, all right?
Right, no problem.
Okay.
And so when if he does have to go back, then is it best to apply straight away, or?
Yeah, reapply straight away as soon as he lands there.
Yeah.
Someone said there's new regulations abroad that you have to have like a TB testing and everything. Is that correct, or?
Yeah, I think if you come from Pakistan, then you do.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no other like requirements from Pakistan, like any other like additional requirements that need to be like.
Yeah, the new rules have changed on the 3rd of March. He needs to have English. Yeah, and if he comes back, he's only going to be allowed to work, say, 10 hours a week, depending on what course he's doing. He might get away with 20, and that's what he needs. And he needs to show his funds and a year's expenditure all up front.
Right, okay.
Okay?
Okay, Mohammed, good luck with that. Mohammed in Peterborough, thank you. Nadeem in Birmingham, hello.
Hello, Nihal, how are you?
Very well, my friend, very well. What would you like to ask Harjap?
Basically, I'm calling on behalf of my uncle.
Right.
He got married back home in Pakistan, I think it's roughly about 8 years back.
Right.
Okay.
And very soon after the wedding, he fell ill with a mental illness.
I'm sorry
And that
to-
sort of, initially he was in Pakistan, then he came here.
Mm.
And a few years were done trying to sort him out and all of that, and thank God he's fine now, he's on medication.
Right.
But sadly he can't work, and so I think he's on disability benefit. In that time, sort of, he's been back home to visit his wife and family. He's had 3 kids. All were born in Pakistan. 2 of them now he's brought here because I think they were given British citizenship.
That's right, yeah.
So he's got 2 of his kids here now. His wife and the youngest one still in Pakistan.
So he was given sole custody. So he's given custody of his children here.
Yeah, no, he's fine now. I mean,
Right.
he's on medication without that.
Right.
But the 2 kids are here, and he's sort of been back and forth during this time purely to be with his family.
So Nadeem, presumably he wants to bring his wife over there?
Without a doubt. He wants to bring it, but he's under this thing. I think his fan sort of looked into it or asked people. And like you were saying earlier, a lot of it is these sort of temple and mosque ladies or
here we go,
Uncle
right.
G telling you this and that. Which
Right,
is
well,
fair enough.
Harjap will tell you the truth about what it is.
There's a simple solution, mate.
Yeah.
He's got to get back to work. And
Gotta get back to-
it's as simple as that.
Okay.
And because if you're on benefits or public funds, then the rules stop you from bringing your spouse or partner over.
Really?
Yeah.
You see, I mean,
that happens a lot of the time.
He tried through his doctor, basically for him to sort of redeem him fit for work, but they're not going to redeem him fit. Because
See, it doesn't have to work, right? Because there's other ways of getting an income. You have to show an income. It's not necessarily you have to go out and work in a factory 24/7.
Okay.
If you own a property and you rent it out, you can get rental income. You're not physically doing anything,
So
but you're getting an
basically
income. He needs to come off the benefits, and show an income.
And how long does he have to be off benefits before?
I would suggest at least 6 months.
Right.
Before he makes an application.
but he needs to be working or having some...
He needs an income, mate, yeah. Without an income, it's going to be virtually impossible.
That's quite a cruel... I mean, that's, you know, to bring it, you know, I mean, I'm not saying that the Home Office is a temple of emotion and love. It's not. It's very cold. But that is quite harsh, isn't it? In the sense that this is a man who needs his wife to be with him to help bring his children up. Yeah, but the thing is, the alternative, they will say, right, why can't you go back and live there? Yeah. You spend a lot of time out there anyway. So why can't you go out there and live with your wife? I mean, if you're going to work here and bring her over and then not be burdened on public funds.
Yeah. I mean, from my perspective, unlike, I mean, it's a bit further up the field as in the human rights issue, purely because, I mean, his standard of living, who he is in this country, even just on his medical side of living here is a must. But purely on the human rights issue, it seems quite harsh if you have, for example, the doctors and the authorities here telling that this man is incapable. I
think the bottom line, Nadeem, is they just don't care.
Yeah, the bottom line is the Home Office have got a set of rules. They don't really bend them for anybody. No. And they say if we open the floodgates, and then you can imagine what will happen.
Yes, and you can imagine what the papers will say once they get hold of it. So, Nadeem, unfortunately, your uncle is going to have to find some paid work and come off the benefits. All of the benefits. Can't take a single benefit.
You can take child tax credit, you can take child benefit, and you can take working tax credit.
Okay,
they're allowed. Incapacity is allowed as well. Incapacity benefit.
Oh, does he have? Well, presumably that's his benefit, isn't it? Incapacity benefit.
Yeah, but it's not under the public fund list for some reason.
So he might get away with it then?
Yeah, but he's still got to show an income alongside that.
Oh, right, I see what you mean.
You can't show that your sole income is from benefits alone.
Right, okay.
Basically to support her when she's here.
Yeah.
All right.
He has to show he can support her for 2 years.
Yeah, okay.
For 2 years.
Okay, Nadeem, we're going to have to leave it there. Good luck with that to your uncle, okay? Jyoti in London, good afternoon.
Hi.
What would you like to ask? What would you like to ask, Harjap?
I want to ask, I've got indefinite stay from last 3 years, and my Indian passport is going to expire at the end of this month.
Okay.
And I'm going to apply for nationality, which is British passport is straightforward, if you say.
Okay.
So when I want to apply for British passport, do I have to renew the Indian passport, or I just automatically just apply for the British one?
You don't need to renew it.
Oh, really?
Yep, you don't need to renew it. What they're going to do is they're going to ask you, right, have you been here since that day? And you say, yeah, I've only held one passport, and I've been here. You can check my medical records or my wage slips or whatever. Not a problem. You don't have to renew it just for the sake of applying for nationality.
Okay.
Is that okay?
And do I have to apply for that because it's expiring in this month? Do I have to apply for nationality only in this month, British passport, or I can apply?
You can apply whenever you want. Whenever you want to travel. Yeah.
Is that okay?
Sorry, one more thing.
Okay,
sorry.
go on.
One more thing is that, you know, the dual thing, they've already started it if I want to keep Indian nationality as well as British nationality.
There's no such thing as dual nationality with India. We discussed this before. Yeah. What you can do is you can have a British passport and have something called Overseas Citizenship of India, OCI. What it effectively does, gives you all the benefits of an Indian citizen, apart from the fact you can't vote. And you can't buy agricultural land, and another one, you can't go mountaineering apparently. So you can't climb the Himalayas. You can't climb the Himalayas. We're going to have to send you. We will send you to Scotland to benefits.
Okay. So will I still have to apply for Indian visa then?
Yeah. Once you have a British passport, then you have to apply. No, once you have OCI, you don't need a visa for your whole life.
All right.
So when I applied for British passport, when do I tell them I don't want this OCI thing?
As soon as you get your British passport. Yeah. You can go online and download the application for an OCI.
Yeah.
And then
submit it. What stands for? Just remind me.
Overseas Citizenship of India.
Overseas Citizenship.
And you can go and submit it directly at the High Commission.
Oh, that's okay. So there's no something dual, and I don't have to renew the other thing, and I just can apply anytime.
Yep.
Oh, that's great. I really appreciate your help.
Cool. Thank you, Jyoti. Take care. Bye-bye. Keep listening to BBC Asia Network. Mohammed in Oxford. Good afternoon to you.
Hi, Nihal. How are you doing?
I'm very well, my friend. Harjap, our guru, is here to provide you with information, my friend. What would you like to ask him?
I'd like to ask him. Hi, Harjap.
Hi there.
I'd like to ask you. My wife wants to call her mother over from Pakistan permanently.
Okay.
And
sure you've heard that a few times before.
I have indeed. First of all, is she on her own over there?
She's living with a younger son.
Right, that's the first problem you're going to have. Secondly, she needs to be, what the rules say, she needs to be over 65.
Which she is, yeah.
Yep, she needs to be living on her own. She needs to have no source of income, no savings out there.
Right.
And she needs to be totally financially dependent upon yourself. So basically, you have to show that mum hasn't got anything or anyone to turn to out there. She's living on her own in the most exceptional of circumstances, right? She hasn't got any facilities, and that you're the only person who's supporting her. So you have to show you've been sending her money regularly back as well.
Yeah, we can show that.
But
And,
the younger son's out there, that's going to be a problem.
Sorry?
The younger son's out there, isn't he?
Yeah, that's what I was coming on to. He's in the process of taking himself and his family to America next year.
Okay, after he goes to America, then what you want to do is make an application then.
Can you time it, though, so that when he leaves, there isn't such a huge gap? Because the thing you're probably worried about, Mohammed, is once he leaves, you don't want her there. Your wife certainly doesn't want her there on her own for 6 months to a year.
The problem Mohammed's going to have, right, he's going to have to show that after they've gone to America, my mum can't cope on her own.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a little period there of about 3 to 4 months where you're going to say, look, we tried, and she can't live on her own.
Right.
That's very important there.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and there's even better news for you, Mohammed. On the 6th of April, the fees are going up for this. It's going to cost you about £1,200 just in application fees. Yeah. So good luck on that one.
Does she like you, your mother-in-law, Mohammed?
I hope so, yeah.
Well, yeah, you're going to hope so. If you're costing you 1,200 quid, if she comes over and hates you, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
A lot of the elders, when they hear the £1,200, they go, nah, we're better off here, mate.
Well, it won't be her that's paying it. It's going to be you that's paying it, isn't it?
Sure, yeah, it's going to be me.
Get that overtime in, Mohammed. Go, mate.
Yeah. Well, listen, good luck with that, Mohammed.
Okay, then,
it's worth it to keep your wife happy, isn't it, Mohammed?
Sure, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, take care, my friend.
Yeah.
See you, mate.
Got to keep the wives happy.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't get the routine.
I hope that's not a euphemism. Right, Poppy, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello. What would you like to ask Harjap?
I've got a question about POI cards, person of Indian origin.
Yep.
I know you've mentioned OCI card.
Yep.
Something that we've been toying with. We get that in India sort of every 3 years.
Yep.
Myself, and my husband and my 3 kids all got British passports.
Yep.
The one thing is we end up sort of travelling around, staying in hotels, which obviously, I don't know if you ever noticed or been caught out on this, but they always tend to have like 2 rates.
Yeah, that's right. Local rate and local rate. Yes,
local.
they have it in Sri Lanka.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's really a case of...
We got the local rate for our honeymoon because we did it through my mother-in-law.
You see, well, yeah, we did that.
I got a local rate because I use all my bank accounts in India.
Anyway, we won't talk about that.
Yeah. Well, we did that because my husband's English, and so when we turned up, they started being really, really weird about it. So what?
Well, it's hardly surprising, Poppy.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get away with that one.
But,
even if they're not, even if he's the fairest skinned Indian, I don't think he's going to get away with that, is he?
No. But the thing is, with a PLI card, could you get away with local rate? Or?
Probably not.
No, okay.
No. Because all these hotels, they ask for your passport, don't they, basically?
Yes.
Or they ask for some form of local ID.
Yeah.
Now, what you can do, right, but I was going to say, don't tell anyone I told you, but it's a bit useless saying that now. Right, what you can do is, if you've got a PIO card, you can open a business in India. You're allowed to open a business in India. If you open a business in India, you get tax documents for official tax cards and all that. You can get a driving licence in India.
May I just say, if you are going to open a legitimate business, which is actually going to be a business...
Took words right out my mouth.
There you go.
Yeah. Right, so say if you want to open a business, because I do business in India, because of the immigration side of things, and a lot of people do business in India, then you're doing business in India, you have local ID, and you will get the local rate. But that's only if you're going to do legitimate business like we said.
As we're saying, probably, yes. And we want you to take that very seriously.
Very seriously.
Yeah, no, well, it's obviously whether it's worth the hassle, isn't it?
Okay, well, listen, we're going to have to leave it there because we've got loads of calls, but thank you for that. Let's speak to Belinda in Wales. Hello, Belinda.
Hello there.
What would you like to ask Harjap?
Oh, yes. I came to this country 5 years ago on a work permit as a senior care assistant.
Right.
And then after a year, I done the overseas nurses program about 3 months.
Okay.
In which my work permit was changed into another visa.
Yep.
Which I don't know the name because it's not written either student or work permit.
Right.
And then after I finished my overseas nurses program, I got my PIN number and started working as a registered nurse. and got a work permit.
Okay.
So my question is, when do I apply for the indefinite leave to remain? Because some say now we can apply, and some say I got to wait a few more years.
I think it'll be 5 years since you've been here.
Yes, 2005 June I came here.
Yeah, probably after June, yeah, I would think.
Right, so I don't have to consider that I changed my work permit visa into another visa to do the course.
No, because I assume that wasn't a student visa.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it would be like a working or a training work experience. Sometimes they have a TWES visa or something like that. I mean, it should have been something like that, so you'd still be okay, I think, after 5 years.
Because I've never seen a student visa, but it's not written as a student.
Yeah, I think you should be all right. You should be all right.
Okay, that's the only question I've got.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Belinda. This is from Baz from Leicester on the email. I'm 25 from Leicester. My fiancée is 19. She's from Pakistan, Lahore.
Yeah.
I intended to marry her last February when she turned 18. However, and we know what's coming here. This
Our
is
survey
21. The forced marriage law, where the spouse visa age requirement increased from 18 to 21, was enforced in the UK in November 2008. That'd be bad timing. 3 months before her 18th birthday, which now means that I'll have to wait another 2 agonising years before I can call her over into the UK as my wife.
That's right.
After marrying her, of course. I love her very deeply and cannot wait to have her with me here in the UK. Is there any way of...
getting around it? No.
We all know the answer to that. Is there any way of bringing her over as my wife before her 21st birthday? Would I be able to sponsor her over on a visit visa to the UK now? She's never been to the UK before. Do you know what? The idea of this is, if you want her over for one reason, stick to that reason.
That's it.
If you start chopping and changing...
Now you're almost ready to take my job, mate.
No, but do you know what? I went with, because when my wife came to get indefinite leave to remain here on her American passport, the fact that she came here on a student visa and then ended up being for a wife visa, at one point they looked at us and went, "Oh, really?"
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's why I know that.
What really? If she does try and come for a visit, and then you're going to end up saying is they're going to say, "Well, hold on, why don't you take time off and go and visit her and stay with her?" So, I mean, best off waiting. I know it's 2 years, but...
agonising.
Yeah, gotta wait, mate. Gotta wait on that one.
If he did bring her over, because the agony got too much, and he did bring her over on a visit...
Yeah, he can try. He can try.
But it could backfire on him,
couldn't it? It could backfire, because he could get refused, and if she hasn't got any relations here, she won't get a right of appeal. And, you know, it's a bit...
So
it's a bit touch and go.
Do it right.
Yeah, and you know, I would really say that you should wait.
Are there any statistics show how many wives, husbands get refused?
Visas?
Yeah, visas.
Oh, loads.
Do they? Loads get refused?
Loads. There's some posts specific in countries who've got a massive refusal rate. I mean, something like I read in Ghana, Accra.
Right.
They've got a huge refusal rate. Lagos as well. Delhi has quite a high refusal rate.
Really?
Yeah, you wouldn't think it, but it has.
Right, so it's not a given that even in 2 years Baz can get...
It should be all right in 2 years. I mean, the real reasons for refusing a marriage visa, right, happens when, like we do, when we go to Pakistan or India for a holiday for a week and end up getting married there. You're supposed to go on holiday, and then questions arise. Hold on, you only came here for 7 days. How comes you got fixed up and agreed to marry someone? The other main reason... genuine reason, right, the common one, is the age gap. So if I'm 75 and I marry someone who's 25, which does happen, mate.
Yes.
And you know, then they think, right, hold on, this is a bit fishy. They love the phrase, if you had a suitable partner, if you had a partner like this in India or Pakistan, would you have married him? And probably the answer to that one is no, I wouldn't have. So you married him in order to come here. The other reason, usually for refusing marriage cases, is lack of employment. People don't pay their tax in this country, and they try and get... Asians especially try and go down the wrong route of getting dodgy wage slips made, dodgy bank statements. We've seen it all, mate.
Right.
So,
you have.
Yeah.
I love the story you once told me about a brother and a sister just trying to get into the country. What was that? They tried to work out they were mother...
Yeah, what happened was,
and wife?
in Canada, it's quite common, amongst the Asian community there, because they're just migration crazy.
Yeah.
They'll go back to their country and marry their brothers and sisters and make out that they're, you know, that this is it's a common occurrence, and Canada's got a huge problem with that. So what they've started introducing is DNA tests. So a husband and wife are sitting there, and
it's like Jeremy Kyle.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah, the officers had a look at them both, and he must have clicked. Hold on, these two look alike. So he's asked for a DNA test. He goes, just ask for a DNA test, and then and then we hear the stories like, hold on, what can we do now as a DNA test? And you're getting caught out on it. So
gosh,
it is, immigration has the amazing amount of scams in the world. I mean, if I was to sit here, we could literally talk to midnight about it, talking about about what people try to
write
do.
A book, Harjap. Write a book.
I'm going to write a book.
Let's speak to Shala in Cumbria. Hello, Shala.
Hello.
What would you like to ask Harjap?
Hello, Harjap. I'm Nihal. It's the first time I'm calling you guys. Yeah, the main thing is my husband came to England in 2006, February, on an international work permit.
Okay.
He worked for 2.5 years in the same trust, and then we applied for Tier 1, and it got granted.
Okay.
But unfortunately, it had the term saying not for a doctor in training, and so
that's right,
in a week's time, we had to... he got a different job in a different hospital in Cumbria, and they applied for a work permit, and he got that.
Okay.
He's still working on it, and the total 5 years on work permit plus the 1 week on Tier visa, and ends in January 2011.
Right.
My question is, can we combine the 2 work permits and the gap in the Tier 1 and apply for ILR in 2011?
Yep, you can, because there should not be any gap there, because what you've done is effectively you've had a work permit, then you've had a Tier 1, then you've gone back to a work permit. And you've done it all in country, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's fine. So your 5 years residence for your ILR can be made up out of a combination of Tier 1 and work permit.
Right.
Yeah.
Someone advised that, if you get a Tier 1, whenever the work permit starts, that's when your 5 years is going to start. So that's not right.
No, it's made up of a combination. If you go onto the UK Border Agency website, you'll see it's made up of you can combine your 5 years ILR. He got it all in this country, right? He didn't leave the country to get any of these visas.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, and you all applied before the end of your visas, and there was no overstaying or anything like that?
No overstay at all.
Yeah, no problem. 5 years, you're there.
Perfect. All right, Charlotte, thank you very much indeed for that. Tanya in Surrey, hello.
Hello, I've got a question. I applied from. I'm originally from New Zealand.
All right.
I've been here for like 20 years.
Right.
And I came over because my parents moved here. My dad's British born.
Right.
Right.
And when I came into the country, I had to come in on the visa.
Yep.
And I applied for my leave to remain, which was last year, to renew it.
Yeah.
And they still haven't sent any documents back. It's been taking nearly 8 months now.
On what basis did you apply for leave to remain?
Because of my last visa, the first one, when we went to apply for it, my dad and I had to go and appeal against it in Harrow.
Right.
And the judge threw it out and said, just give the girl, you've got no case against her.
Right.
So my dad came with me, and so we had to reapply. And I'm just thinking...
What visa did you get granted? What visa got granted? Did you?
It was the leave to remain the first time, but because they lost some documentation...
Right.
They're saying that they lost some paperwork of mine. I had to restart again.
Now, did you come as a dependent of your father?
No, I was just over the dependent age, but I've been, I think I was about 17, 18 when I came over.
Right, okay, yeah, because if you're under 18, you probably came over as a dependent.
Yeah.
And when did you come over?
Oh, 91.
91? So why haven't you got leave to remain since then?
I don't know. It's been a complicated case.
It's 19 years, eh?
Yeah, it's been a long time. I mean, my dad's from here.
Tanya, can I just... Sorry. Tanya, can I just clear something up here, because I'm a little bit confused here. What passport... Are you on a New Zealand passport?
Yeah, I was on a New Zealand passport.
And you're on one now?
Yes.
And you haven't got any... So, wait a minute, for all intents and purposes, you are here illegally?
No, I'm here legally.
You're here legally?
But they had to resort my visa out.
Now, why did they do that? Because when you would have come with a visa, right? So maybe about a year's visa or a 2 years visa, and then after that you should have got indefinite leave to remain.
Because there was a mess up with the Home Office and the paperwork. It's a huge mess up.
Have you ever left the country, come in and out of the country?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so...
Why did they let you back in?
Yeah, you must have had a visa then.
Oh, what, visa? Oh, no, I haven't left the country since I...
You haven't left the country since 91?
Yes.
So since 91 you've been here, you haven't left England?
No, I haven't left at all, because my family live here.
So you haven't even been on holiday or anything?
No.
Okay.
No holiday, nothing.
I'm not sure.
I know someone legally because they're doing better than you are.
No, I promise you I'm not that. I really am not that.
Right, so wait a minute.
My local MP...
Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking, this is taking a mick now, taking a long time. What
8 months. Right, so you're waiting 8 months to get your indefinite leave to remain, even though you've been here for 19 years?
Yeah, 8 months.
What happens is, right, regardless of whether you had leave or didn't have leave, if you can prove you've been here 14 years, right, even if you've been here illegally, right, or legally, you will get...
I've been illegally.
You will get leave to remain. You will get indefinite leave to remain.
All right, Tanya, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed for that. Okay, she's been here for 14 years.
Yeah, so she's probably applied outside of the rules, and if you make an application outside of the rules, it can take ages to clear. Right. You might have to wait till December 2011.
But she'll be all right.
She'll be all right, yeah.
Okay. If she hasn't left the country 19 years,
19 years, mate.
Right, let's speak to Hawa in Leicester. Hello, Hawa.
Hiya.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine.
What would you like to ask Harjap?
My hubby, he's been here since 2002. He came. 2003, I applied for indefinite leave.
Yeah.
Now, it's citizenship time, so I was wondering what I should go, which road I should take, basically. What papers should I fill in?
You should. You want to apply for citizenship for yourself?
My hubby.
For your hubby? He should just apply for nationality. I mean, he's got
he's already... I've already applied his indefinite leave.
Yeah.
He's already got it.
Yeah, when did he get that?
In 2003.
Well, he could have applied ages ago then.
Yeah, I know, but due to the fact that that time, well, you know how he was involved in his work and everything, he hasn't applied yet.
Right. Well, now all he has to do is apply for nationality.
Yeah.
And that's fine, as long as he does a test, a Life in the UK test or an ESOL test.
He's done an ESOL certificate. He's also got it.
Yeah.
What else test would he go
That's it, that's all he needs.
That's all he needs.
Yeah,
and what would be the minimum fee?
The fee for the Home Office is round about £720.
£720.
But it's going up after the 6th of April.
The 6th of April.
Yeah, so you've got about a week and a half.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. And another question I wanted to ask was that what would happen to his Indian passport?
He'd have to give it back after he got his nationality.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay,
All right.
Then. Okay, thank you
Good
very
luck,
much.
Hawa. Thank you. Let's speak to Ricky. Hello, Ricky.
Hi. Hi, Nihal.
How are you, mate?
I'm fine, thanks.
What would you like to ask Harjap?
Yeah, hi, Harjap.
Hi.
Quick question.
Yeah, go for it.
I went for an independent appeal. My cousin brother failed his visa, and I went. We've passed the appeal.
Okay, good stuff.
He's been granted a visa.
Good stuff.
Unfortunately, he was requested to come to Delhi to pick it up.
Yeah.
He's from the Punjab, and when he went there, they refused him. They said, "We're not going to give you the visa. You have to wait another 10 days."
Right.
Right.
What type of visa? What type of visa was it?
It's a visiting visa.
Yeah, it can happen, and I'll tell you why it usually happens if there's a change of circumstances since the appeal was granted. So,
right.
And that could be because he might have withdrawn his money from his bank. Sometimes in Punjab they do that.
And because obviously someone can lend them loads of money.
What they do, right, is they re-question the person who's gone to get his visa, and then if he gets all the answers wrong, as what you said in the appeal, then it could be a problem then. But if they refused him, they should have given him a new refusal letter, right?
Yeah, but they haven't. They've kept the document where they said come to Delhi and pick the visa up.
Yeah.
They've kept that document on them.
Yeah.
And they said come back in 10 days. We'll have a
what they were going to do is they're going to conduct inquiries then.
Right.
Yeah, they're going to carry out the inquiries.
His cousin brother.
But so are they not overturning the judge's decision?
No, not until they give a refusal. They're not. And what it is, they're allowed to do that if they can show there's a change in circumstance. Let me give you an example, right? I apply for a visa.
Yep.
Yeah. I get refused. My cousin does an appeal in the UK, right, showing that he's got enough money in the bank, he's going to come back, or he's studying, or whatever. Say if after the appeal gets accepted, I stop studying, or I take all my money out of the bank and then go to Delhi to get my visa.
Okay.
That's a change in circumstance. They can refuse it. They can say, hold on, sunshine, when your appeal was granted, your situation was X, Y, Z, but now it's changed. So now we're going to issue you with a new refusal. Then you'll have to end up appealing that. However, let's not jump the gun here, because that hasn't happened yet. Right. So all they've done is they said, right, come back in 10 days. So they'll be conducting their inquiries. So now I've given you a bit of heads up as to what they're going to see.
Okay, Ricky, we're going to have to leave it there, my friend. So, hi, I have an Indian passport with indefinite stay. I want a visa to go to Spain. I've got all my documents. They won't issue me a visa without having an appointment, but I've booked my holiday for the 3rd of April, and they're saying there is no appointment before then. Here's an idea. Don't book a holiday before, because they always say that, don't they?
100%. That's the solution to that one. And there's you won't get a date that easy. You should need to sort your visas out before you start booking tickets and stuff. Or if you're going to book tickets, make sure you apply for your visa about 2 months in advance. That goes to people applying for visas for India as well. Big queue at the moment, big sort of problems there.
Is there really big queues?
Big queues. Apply at least 2 months in advance.
Okay, there we go. All right, let's speak to Rahim. Good afternoon, Rahim.
Good afternoon, Nihal.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, sir.
Good. You know what? This always, when we get Harjap in here, it's just inundated. We don't play any music. We just got to get through.
I should sing a song in between.
Yeah, yeah. I think we all want to hear you sing a song, Harjap, don't we? Rahim, what would you like to ask Harjap?
I've got a question. I've had a British passport as far as I remembered. I was born and lived in Nairobi, Kenya.
Okay.
Moved over here in about 1988, 89.
Okay.
Right.
And I've got a British overseas citizen. It's a British passport.
Yep.
So what does that mean?
Your British overseas citizen passport, has it got an indefinite leave stamp in there?
I think so.
If you've got an indefinite leave stamp in there, you're okay. That's not a problem. If you haven't got an indefinite leave to stamp in there, you need to apply for a full British nationality, which you can do by completing a form called BOS. You go to the UK Border Agency website, complete that form, and they'll give you full British nationality. But if you've got an indefinite stamp on your overseas one, then you don't really have to go and pay the fees and all that.
So there's no difference really then?
Not really if you've got an indefinite leave stamp. It's just it's a lesser form of British nationality. What it is, people who had British overseas citizens didn't need a visa to come here, so they could come on like as visitors without a need for a visa, just like Americans or Canadians do and all that.
Okay.
But if you've got the indefinite stamp in there, it's as good as gold, mate.
But I've lived here for the last 20 odd years and been away, come back, I've had no problems.
Not a problem, mate. You can easily do it. You can, if you want to do it, you want to get the one which says a British citizen and not a British overseas citizen. Fill out a form called BOS. I think you're going to have to pay them £400 or £500 for the pleasure of it, and you'll get a full British passport.
Okay, brilliant.
All right, good luck with that, Rahim.
Cheers.
Okay, Dave P. has emailed in, a question for Harjap. My parents have lived in the country legally for over 40 years, but they don't have a British passport and have lost their original passports from India and Kenya. They don't work at the moment, although they have done so in the past. They've done the ESOL course, which is an acronym for ESOL?
Yeah, it's English speakers of other language. English-speaking course for other languages.
Okay. To assist their case, what steps should we take next?
Right, they should see if they can find their previous passports and had indefinite leave to remain on them. Right. If they did, then really they should apply for nationality. If they haven't had any sort of leave, then they'd have to make an application for under the 14-year thing that we've done.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, so it's really important to identify whether they've got leave first.
Yeah.
Or they haven't. If they haven't got indefinite leave, it's a long sort of procedure. So applying under the 14-year rule and getting your application sorted that way, then applying for nationality after that.
And find pay slips and proof
and proof and all that stuff. Yeah, be nice to your doctor and get them to write a letter and say you've been here 40 years.
Hi again. I just heard that the COA can be rejected due to an age gap. There is a 14-year difference between us. I am older. Will this be a problem? This is from Amita.
Nope, I've never heard of a COA being rejected under an age gap.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Your visa can be rejected under an age gap.
Okay, what's a COA then?
It's a certificate of approval which foreign people need to get married in this country. If I'm an immigrant and I want to get married in this country, I have to get approval from the government in the form of a certificate.
Okay, and an age gap wouldn't be an issue to that?
Not to get the certificate, but to get your leave it might be.
Right, to bring someone over?
No, just to when that person's here and then you want to apply for a visa for them after you get married, and then it could be a problem.
Right, okay.
It doesn't apply for people marrying abroad, it only applies to people marrying here. So like, if you're here as a student and you find a lovely British girl to get married to and you want to marry her, you have to apply for permission to get married under a certificate of approval. Once they give you that, then you can get married and then you can think about changing your leave from a student visa to a spouse visa.
Right, okay. Harman has said, big thank you to Harjap for the good laugh last time as well as helping with people's queries. I'm an Indian passport holder working here on Tier 1 visa. I've applied to Schengen visa, that's the EU thing, isn't it? Dutch embassy previously, and that was stamped for validity for 18 days. I applied again with Dutch embassy requesting multiple entry visa but only got 2 months. They said they cannot guarantee, but it all depends on discretion of visa officer.
That's right.
It is a pain paying 65 quid every time for a visa, though I got tickets for 20 quid. I have no rejections on my passport and have valid visas for US, UK already. I did supply an e-year travel insurance, hotel bookings, fulfilling all requirements for next whole 1 year. I've no regrets of showing Indian passport, even if you go to toilets here. But if I get multiple entry visa, it would just make it easier to travel around Europe without bothering about the visa paying every time. Is there any way to get a multiple entry, or which embassy I should apply to next time?
Not the Dutch one, I can tell you that. Try applying at other embassies like the Spain, the Italian one.
Right.
They're usually a bit better. But to be honest, with Schengen visas, it's totally down to the person you get in front of you, the officer.
Wow.
Up to his discretion. He can give you a visa for a day if he wants to, and he can give you a visa for 6 months if he wants to. It's totally down to him.
Right, that's powerful. You're right. Amit has emailed in saying, I'm looking for PIO-OCI for my 2-year British-born son. I'm holding an Indian passport. My wife has a British passport. Which sort of document is good in terms of everything for him? I know this question's been asked in the last show, but I forgot. OCI or PIO, which one is better for my 2-year-old son?
Anyone, really, to be honest. They're both pretty... OCI is limited till about 15 years.
Right.
And OCI is lifetime visa.
Right.
And a PIO is limited to 15 years.
Oh, okay.
There's not much difference apart from
That's
the
an important
fees.
distinction, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, to get the OCI, it's probably better.
Yeah, right.
It's a lifetime thing.
How long does an OCI take to sort out? If you're just listening in, OCI stands for?
Overseas Citizenship of India.
Right, okay. How long does an OCI take to sort out? Both parents emigrated from India in the 60s. Now with British passports, I'm UK born.
6 to 8 weeks if you do it properly.
Right, 6 to 8 weeks if you do it properly, which, of course, is the only way to do it. Let's speak to Ajay in Birmingham. Hello, Ajay.
Hi there. I just want to ask, my sister-in-law, she's got indefinite leave to remain in the UK. She's from India.
Yeah.
We'd like to travel to Europe. Does she need a visa to travel to Europe?
Yep.
Oh, she does?
Yep.
Right, okay. Sorry, you probably answered this question earlier, but I
Don't book the tickets until you get the visa.
Well, we've booked the tickets already.
No, you should apply well in hand for a Schengen visa.
When are you flying?
We're flying on 3rd of April.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I went to London personally myself. The guy there, Bateman's, it was for the Spain visa.
Yeah.
Very rude, not helpful at all.
Yep.
But it's one of those, it's an experience.
Yeah, sounds about right.
I just thought I'd ask the question.
Yeah, you're going to need a visa, I'm afraid.
Yeah, well, anyway, thanks for your help.
All right, good luck, Ajay. Mark in Slough. Hello, Mark.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
I'm good. What would you like to ask Harjap?
Okay, right. Basically, I've got a British passport.
Yep.
So do both my parents. My mum was originally had an Indian passport. My dad originally had a Sri Lankan passport.
Okay.
When I was born, I had a Sri Lankan passport for maybe the first 2 or 3 years of my life. I'm not quite sure.
It's hard work travelling the world on a Sri Lankan passport.
Yeah.
I saw my mum go through it every time we went to another country. Yeah, go on.
Definitely. So obviously, my parents are pretty keen to get me on a British passport as soon as they could. Got a British passport, and then in September just gone, I need to go to India for a wedding.
Yeah.
And I applied for an Indian visa, and they rejected it on the basis that I once had a Sri Lankan passport.
Yeah.
It's just a common problem, and what can I do to get an Indian passport, Indian visa next time round?
Apart from cricket, since when has Sri Lanka been an enemy of India, I wonder?
I have no idea. I was totally bemused by
I can imagine. And apart from what happened, obviously, with the LTTE back in the 80s.
Yeah, apart from that.
Yeah, apart from that.
But what it is, I would suggest, right, that you, instead of applying for an Indian visa, you try and apply for a PIO or an OCI for your mum's links.
Okay.
If your mum has held an Indian passport before, has she still got that passport lying about somewhere?
Yeah, I think it's just lying about the house.
Right, that's wicked, mate, because don't lose that, because that's going to be coming really handy.
Okay.
You should apply for that. You'll get a lifetime sticker, which then you don't need a visa to go to India.
Okay, that's cool.
And then that can be done through that. You print off the form online.
So even if only just one of your parents has gone?
Yep.
Right.
And then get this one, which I found out. I only found, always learning in this job.
Yeah.
I only found this out last week. If you're British, totally British, and have had no links with India, say if I'm a white man and I'm born and bred, say, I don't know, in Slough, right? That's my favourite town.
Marks as well.
Yeah. But say if I'm born in Slough, right?
Right.
And I marry an Indian girl, right?
Yeah.
I can get an OCI.
Really?
Yeah, that is wicked.
Overseas citizen of India?
On the basis of your marriage to an Indian citizen.
Amazing.
That is amazing.
Well,
That doesn't mean every white guy goes and finds an Indian girl.
Well, that's what's going to happen. If India grows at the rate it's growing, that's exactly what's going to happen.
But yeah, amazing. So I might not have any other ties with India apart from the fact that my wife is Indian. But I can get an OCI.
Wow.
And if your mum is Indian, you should be 100% be able to get it, mate.
Yeah?
Yeah, and then you don't have to, muck around with this lot.
Yeah, and you don't have to queue up with the Indian embassy.
That's right, yeah.
All right, Mark, good luck with that, my friend.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Okay, we've got about 4 minutes left, so I'm going to have to probably say no more calls now because we are running out of time. I've got loads of texts and emails. But before that, Chanda in Leamington Spa. Hello.
Hello there.
What would you like to ask Harjap?
Basically, I've been in this country for about 18 years now, and I have leave to remain indefinitely.
Okay.
I just want to get the British passport, so I want to know what procedure it is. What do I need to do then?
You need to get a Life in the UK test or an ESOL course.
Right.
After you've done that, you make an application on a form AN
right.
for British nationality. Once you get that nationality certificate, apply for a passport,
right.
and then hand your Indian one, or whatever it is, back to the embassy.
Right.
Simple
and so I need to get the Life in UK test.
Or an ESOL qualification, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's either of them, not both of them.
No, not both of them. You need
So
one.
just get one of them and then apply for the British passport, yeah?
That's it. Apply for British nationality first. Naturalisation is called.
Right.
On a form AN.
And Chanda, you've been working all this time, 18
Yes, yeah.
Right, and paying tax?
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. All they're going to ask for is all your old passports.
Right.
Evidence of your English qualification in the form of a Life in UK test or ESOL certificate.
Right, okay.
And,
which you'll do fine at.
And a P60, probably.
Yeah.
Sorry?
And a P60.
Oh, P60, yeah, I've got them anyway.
Yeah, brilliant. Not a problem.
Okay, then thank you.
Chanda, can I just ask you, why now?
It's just the kids are grown up and they want to go on holiday to States and whatever, and I'm the only one in the family who's got Indian passport.
Okay.
So I have to queue up to the different embassies and high commissions, you see.
That's right.
Make sure you get your OCI stamp, though, as well, yeah?
Yeah, get that.
And just a quick one on that one. Will I be able to get for my family for that, the OCI, or is it just going to be myself?
No, I think they should do. If you've had an Indian passport, so your wife can definitely get it, for a start, and your children can as well.
Right, one's 14 years old and one's 8, so they should be able to get that.
No problem, mate. Go for it.
Okay, then, thank you.
Good luck, Chanda. All right, here we go. Rabia said, I want to call my mum-in-law to the UK indefinitely. I'm a housewife and my husband works. My mum-in-law has been here before on a sponsored visa for 6 months last summer. Any advice? Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, this goes back to her.
That's it. Has to be over 65, dire conditions over there, no one to look after her. The problem is, when people come on visitor visas, they have to show the exact opposite. So they have to show they've got money, they're settled, they've got assets. And then, if you say, right, hold on, I like this country and I want to stay here permanently, they say, hold on, 6 months ago or a year ago, you showed us you was well off and you had lots of stuff out there. So what's going on here? So that becomes a bit tricky. The main advice is...
Came over for 6 months last summer.
Yeah.
You're going to have to wait a while.
Yeah, the main advice is for people who want to call their parents over permanently, is never call them over as visitors.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
H has said, my wife has had a British passport for 20 years. Does she have to hand the Indian passport in, which expired 20 years ago?
Yep. Short answer to that is hand anyone with an Indian passport who's got a British nationality certificate or a British passport, please hand it in. I know it costs 90 quid and you don't want to have a hassle and you'd rather spend 90 quid, down the cash and carry, but unfortunately it's, just pay it and just do a bit of overtime. Just work that one day extra to Sunday, go for it, it's double pay anyway.
Yes, exactly right. You'll have to just dispense with those 20...
Double pay, all the Asians' ears went up there.
My wife got her indefinite leave to remain on May 31st last year. When can we apply for a British passport?
After 1 year after getting indefinite leave to remain.
Oh, is it really?
Yep.
Only 1 year?
That's it. So if you're after a 2-year spouse visa, 1 year after you got indefinite leave to remain, you can apply for nationality on the basis of your marriage.
Okay, my wife came in here in February 2008. This is from Fahan, and has just got her indefinite leave as 2 years were up. When can she apply for nationality? Is it 3 years or 5 years? It's 1 year.
3 years, 1 year after indefinite, 3 years in total.
3 years in total. All right, Harjap, as always, I do apologise if you didn't hear any music in that last hour, but I hope you found that as exciting as I do.
The sound of Asian Britain on digital TV, iPlayer and online.
This is BBC Asian Network.
Harjap, thank you very, very much for joining us, mate. You are clearly the guru of all these things.
Yeah.
Of all these things.
Swallow the Bible on it, mate.
Oh, no, mate, absolutely, and regurgitate it at will. Fantastic. All right, I shall be back from tomorrow at 1 o'clock.